Good evening and welcome to the Radical Race Series Round 6, live from Mid-Ohio in the USA. I am James Parfitt, and tonight I'm going to be joined by Michael David in the booth as we run through this absolutely epic 17-lap race here at Mid-Ohio. Current track length 3.56 kilometers and set in outside the city of Lexington in the USA. Race lap record 105.26. That was set by Will Power in a Dallara DW12, a 2016 IndyCar. Major events, it holds the IndyCar Series, the INSA Sports Car Championship, and NASCAR Camping World Truck Championship as well. And as you can see here this evening, guys, as well, we're going to have an absolutely epic race set this evening as hopefully, come on, work. As you can see there, that is the track flyby provided by Sim Racing Community. Guys, check them out over at simracingcommunity.com for all your sim racing news, views, and forums, and get yourselves involved as well. So a big shout out to them for providing this absolutely epic flyby of the circuit itself. So it holds NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, FR America's Trans Am Series. Former, it held the NASCAR Infinity Series as well, which I did not know as well. And this is the second variation of this road course from 1990 right into the present day there as well. The original road course is 1963, also to the present day as well. So two layouts here in Mid-Ohio, but we're going to run the full course, full 13 corner there track this evening as well. And well, I can't wait for it, but let's see what Michael David can do. Good evening, Michael. How are you, young sir?
I'm doing great, James. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Absolutely smashing it today. Happy, all good, can't complain.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. Excited for Mid-Ohio here. There was a lot of races there. I did not know that Xfinity used to run here. Truck Series, I'm not surprised about at all. But one of the other things that you mentioned there, the TA Trans Am Series, I kind of wish that was a little bit more popular in the United States. It kind of feels like the V8 supercars of America. It just kind of gets lost in translation when it comes to American motorsports. You know, everybody loves either Indy or NASCAR on this side of the pond. So that's the one that I wish would really start to take off and really become prevalent in American society. But it is what it is. But here at Mid-Ohio, we have a beautiful day, 22 degree Celsius track and air temperature. That's a little lower than 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's nice, comfortable weather here. And should be an exciting race here with these SR10s. I know you're a little more comfortable with the SR8s. Have you gotten more used to the SR10s now that you've had a few weeks and months to get used to them?
Well, I've been around in them, and you know, I'm fine at the moment. I think, to be honest, if I had more time and put in a lot more time, then you know, I would probably be a whiz, maybe. Possibly, I don't know, but it's all time related with this car, and you do have to put a lot of time into this car. And overall, it's just it just needs more. But I'm there. I can stop it now without the back end spinning round, so that's always good. You know, I find once that ability comes up, it's always handy. But I'll tell you what we can do. Let's have a look at the championship standings. These are the current championship standings as they are at this moment in time. Paul Crabb is tied with first place with Mike Booth on there from 154 points. Simon Edwards on 135, Ben Underdown on 126, Luke Maxwell on 118, Michael LeMay in 6th on 99, Paul Clark on 98, Oliver Ettridge on 94, and Damien G on 91. Paul LeMay on 90, David Rolliston on 87, Colin Wynn on 72, Jamie Bird on 69, Phil Glover 65, Austin Gretorix down on 62, Graham Brown there as well, took an absolute stunning win at Watkins Glen last time out as well on 59 with Martina Ward on 58. Phil Jocelyn down at the bottom there on 52. Scott Lear behind him on 45. The other Graham Brown on 44. Dave Dawson on 43. Dominic Lang-Webb on 38. Seth Brown 36. John McHutchinson on 26. Dan Webster 25. James Child 23. Richard Brown on 19. And Darrell Taylor down on 14 there as well. So we got a nice close one. Mike Buson was so what we thought was going to wrap up his victory last week, first ever one, didn't work out. The Watkins Glen chicane played an absolute major part in that race last week, and Phil's in here from as well. Good evening, Phil. He's in here as well, and he probably watched that race last week at Watkins Glen, where the chicane, Michael, let's just say, caused that big problems because there was an inch difference between making it through the chicane or lifting your rear left tyre, coming down on the floor, gripping up, and going into the wall on the right-hand side, and that is how literally close it was last week at Watkins Glen. So I'm expecting a different circuit here today. I've not broadcasted here before, so this is my absolute first one this evening here at Mid-Ohio, and I think that run down from the start-finish line right the way through down to turn 1 into the tricky hairpin of the keyhole in turn 2 is really going to be catching people out, I think, because it's quite a fast-flowing section.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenging section. I think coming out of the keyhole is going to be one of our best passing opportunities, going down the big main straight there into the China Beach area. Turns 4, 5, and 6 I think is also going to be another tricky little spot there. I'm not too sure about the elevation change, as this is a track that's newer to me as well, but going through 4, 5, 6 and into the S's of 7 and 8, that should be very interesting as well, so you can, you know, keep it smooth through the corners, and that'll give them an advantage down into turn 9 with a great run into Thunder Valley turns 10 and 11.
Oh,
so I'm really excited here.
Thunder Valley. Oh, what a name
for
corners.
Right?
Right, no. Thunder Valley. Well, look out for that one, guys, here as well. So be aware the schedule for this season is basically we are here at round 6, Mid-Ohio. Then we go on to the 27th for Fuji GP. Then on the 3rd and the 11th, it's the Road America Full Course. Monza GP follows on the 10th of November, followed closely by the Motorsports on the 17th. Bathurst on the 24th, and then we round out the season closer at Nordschleife, the full Nordschleife Industriefahrten on the 1st of December. So that is going to be what we call an epic, absolute epic season here as well. And don't forget, guys, as well, this event is also sponsored by iLounge Racing. So please head over to iloungeracing.co.uk and check out all their sim equipment that they have got there as well. Taking the ease, taking the stress, I should say, away from choosing a sim rig. iLounge Racing will help you choose what is suitable for you. They will deliver it, they will install it, and they will run you through all the information you need to get your rig up and running. Rig price can be anything. If you got flush and you got a lot of cash, you can get a rig for £100,000, mind you. Or you can get a nice, straightforward, more of a simpler rig, a little bit cheaper there as well. So, you know, products for everyone, all across the board of your price range. So please go and check them out for iloungeracing.co.uk, sponsoring this evening's race. And of course, they've got their driver, Paul Clark, in as well. So Paul doing repping the iLounge Racing guys. So please go and check them out, because that will be absolutely incredible. We are going into a 10-minute qualifying here on board with Darrell Taylor. Currently in there on track. There is Mike Buson, our joint leader, with Mr. Paul Crabb. I can't actually see Paul here this evening, so unfortunately for Paul, it looks like he may have missed out. I haven't heard anything that he can't make it, so let's just see what happens. But definitely, guys, as well, stay tuned, because this is just going to be absolutely amazing here at this very what do we call it? It's not really tight, Michael, is it? It seems to be a bit more open, but it's a kind of more twisty circuit.
Yeah, very twisty. Seems like there's a decent amount of runoff on these corners, so you don't have to worry about it, you know, being up against a wall like on a street circuit. But definitely does have a twisty feel to it. There is some elevation change to the right along here with Mike Buson. It just seems like it might have some blind corners, like some late off-camber apexes that we see going through. I believe that's through the keyhole right there. So it should definitely give us some exciting chances for overtakes here as we come down this long straight. I believe we're going to be coming into turn 4 here. So turn 4 and turn 5 and turn 6 all kind of float around what they call the China Beach there, which is a big old sand trap. So you got to be careful. You want to stay out of there for sure. Coming through into turn 6 here. this is going to be the section known as the S's. So it's a quick right, quick left, and another right, and you're back on the gas up until you get into here, turn 9. And this is our favorite part of the track here, Thunder Valley.
Thunder Valley, what an absolutely incredible name for a circuit as we go around a sweeping right, sweeping left. Coming into the carousel of turn 12 as we enter now, we've got a long right-hander. Around we go, and then we come right down into 13 to follow the finish, the lap off. So that is a lap around Mid-Ohio. And I've got to say, it does look very spicy this evening, that way that circuit goes. And that fast flow in turn 1 is really, I think, going to be an eye-opener for some of these drivers. I hope some of them have been on track practicing, because it looks like they may well need it. Simon Edwards currently goes on to pole position on a 1:16.59, so it's going to be very quick times here tonight, 1:16s, and of course that will also lend itself to the fact that it's a 17-lap race. Don't forget, guys, the charity this year as well is Mast Cell Action. Mast Cell Activation Syndrome affects 1 in 300,000 people and forms part of the spectrum of mast cell disorders. People with MCAS suffer from inappropriately triggered inflammation, leading to a wide range of symptoms, namely anaphylactic, life-threatening allergic reaction. MCAS can often take over 5 years to diagnose due to the complexity of the diagnosis procedure. Mast Cell Action aims to reduce this by 3 years to just 2, allowing treatment to begin at an early age. Please go and check out the donation links down in the description below as well if you fancy getting yourselves involved and donating, and that would be an absolute incredible cause. As we see Mike Bousson once again coming across the line. Green across the board, goes into second place. Mike's favourite position there, Michael, and he does love a good old second place finish, does Mike, but that consistency has kept him at the top of the time, top of the championship.
Yeah, well, you know the old adage, to finish first you got to finish. That doesn't necessarily mean that finishing second a bunch of times doesn't win you a championship, because obviously right there, finish up in the second place, is on top of the championship right now, or darn close to it. Consistency is everything, especially when it comes to motor racing. So solid for him, solid run, and I'm sure he's expecting to have more of the same tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm sure he will. And looking at doing an absolute stellar job, as we can see here with Graham Brown. He's got 2 purples across the board at the moment. Does get a little bit squirrely, but it does give him a green. He's still going left now. He's going to go round the long right-hand out of the carousel turn 12 before we drop down into 13. Here he comes, Graham Brown. What is he going to do as he comes across the line? Oh, he's yellow in the final sector. Put him in second place on a 1:16.29. Graham Brown on a 1:16.29. Wow, it's going to be tough at the top, I think. You know, Mike, Graham, Simon are all around about the same times, and I think it's going to be incredibly close at that top of the timing tower, Michael.
I mean, if you look at second place right now, we got Webster 6 thousandths of a second behind Edwards for pole position. That is as close as you're going to get. I don't think you can get any closer than that. 6 thousandths of a second. That is absolutely flying there. 1:16.210 is your current provisional pole. So these guys up front there, they're extremely fast, and they are definitely showing it out here today. We got Bousson, who's about a 10th back in 4th place right now, so he's probably going to want to try to put in another quick lap here. But Edwards up top there with Webster literally clawing down the back of him.
Yeah, they've done the laps up front as well, so it's just the remaining drivers that are out, Dave Dowson, Jamie Bird and Phil Glover. So that really is Simon Edwards' pole position locked up and running currently at the moment with the 3 laps they've got here as well to try and set a time. So Phil, I think a wonderful evening. Hope you are well, and thank you again for joining me this evening. Much love to you. Don't forget, guys, as well, what we've got up and coming on the JPB YouTube channel is later on tonight, we've got another dose of oval. Well, it's Xfinity, but they're racing at the Long Beach Street Circuit. So you have to, if you get time, or if you're awake, mind you, if you're in the UK, tune in for that one, because trust me, that is going to be one that's not going to be wanting to miss there as well. James Child, no time on the board for James currently at the moment, sitting down in 16th place in the RSR10. So yeah, so come and check me out later. We'll be live about 10 to 2 in the morning in the UK, 8:30 Eastern 10 to 9 actually Eastern time as well if you're in the US. So that will be the Xfinity cars racing around Long Beach, and I'd love to see them go too wide around the fountain at the beginning of that lap. Can you imagine that, Michael?
Oh man, I'm just trying to like get an idea in my head. As soon as you told me that Xfinity at Long Beach just blew my mind. It's not a type of combination that I would expect to see on that track. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, not only for those drivers, but for your spotters as well. Anybody that's giving out any information on track is going to have to be on top of everything going on. I don't think there's enough room for those NASCAR Xfinity cars to go too wide around the fountain. At least not get out cleanly, that's for sure. You're going to have somebody hopping over the fountain if that's the case.
Can you imagine an Xfinity parked in the fountain? You'll either have the Camaro or a Mustang or a Supra parked in the fountain. Now that's going to be absolutely amazing. But we got that coming up for you as well. So tune in for that. And then we've got the Radical Race Series. No, we haven't. We've got Euro Trips F122 on Friday. Then we're back with the 100 Cup Series on Saturday morning, or Sunday morning for us UK guys, and then we've got the Radical Sim Racing special event on Sunday night, so make sure you stay tuned in for that one. 1:07 on the clock, we've got Dave Dowson going around currently on a 1:19.65. Oh. That was Dave there as well. That didn't look too clever. And James Charles still not got a time on the board yet. I think he's really struggling with off tracks here at the moment. He's got 3 so far. So yes, he could be in not doing so well. So we might have to see James fighting his way back through. But I think this is going to be all in all Simon Edwards' pole. I don't think this is going to change, but Edwards is currently your leader here as well. Well, okay, so different entity to Watkins Glen, this circuit. What do you think we're expecting to get out of this? Because this is going to be a tough circuit, isn't it, I think? And they've only got 17 laps, and 1:16 by about 19 minutes, 20 minutes, the race is going to be done, isn't it?
Yeah, so the thing about Watkins Glen is even though it's a road course, you got those steel walls right up against the track almost everywhere around the track. Here we have a nice wide open track. If you want to, do you want to go through these real quick?
Yeah, we'll do. So there you go, guys. We've got Simon Edwards on pole, Dan Webster second, Graham Brown third, Mike Booth on fourth, Luke Maxwell fifth, Paul LeMay in sixth, Paul Clark in seventh, Scott Lear eighth, Phil Glover ninth, Dave Rollison 10th, Damien G 11th, and Michael LeMay down in 12th place. Beyond that is Darrell Taylor in 13th, James Chard 14th, Phil Jocelyn 15th, Jamie Bird 16th, and Dave Dowson down in 17th place there. I'm really interested to see how this is going to pan out. Like, straight up, you know, this is one of them where it's going to be really quite an exciting short sprint as well. And I also want to give a big shout out as well while we're here, guys, to TrackCams22 as well for providing us the cameras this evening. So much love to them for giving us all these epic views that we've got on the race this evening. So 17 laps of Mid-Ohio. Mike Bousson left to appear on the grid before we go live. And Michael, quick input, quick. What do you think?
I think we're going to see quite a bit of overtaking. The track is wide enough and there's a lot of run out there, yeah.
Right.
Going to offer brave moves here.
Here we go, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are green here at Mid-Ohio. Simon Edwards taking a divert to the right-hand side and basically covers off that run from Dan Webster, Graham Brown, Mike Bousson, Luke Maxwell, Simon Edwards there as well. Says that Simon Edwards has had an incident. I see him just fine. So Darrell Taylor is up but 2 positions, as you can see him now rushing around the keyhole. Everybody seems to have got away cleanly, Mike, and you know, he seems to be all good in the hood. They are going too wide, mind you, and Paul Clark is taking it too wide very early on here with Scott Lear. So what do we reckon? All through cleanly at the moment.
Yeah, this is a very wide track. I think that it offers the opportunity for these drivers to go too wide for a majority of the lap. Even here through this tight section past China Beach and in through the S's, you want to stay on the inside line so you're constantly moving back and forth. But that being said, there's plenty of room for these drivers to take it too wide if they need to. So it really depends on how aggressive they want to be and how comfortable they are with this track. I know you and I are both kind of unfamiliar with this track. This is my first real experience. I know you said you had, just came here today, so it's definitely going to be new to us. But I wonder if that's going to be the same case for a lot of these drivers. They're used to a lot more European tracks than to come to someplace like Mid-Ohio that's not generally on a European schedule. It's definitely going to be interesting for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, Jamie Bird did take a diver off track, as has James Child, but they are back up and running. Simon Edwards still out in front. Luke Maxwell here as well. He's having a battle with Mike Bousson. Team red line for Mike, ITGL Racing for Luke Maxwell. So keep an eye on these two. They are similar liveries, so I promise we will get them correct. But this is going to be an absolute epic scrap. And here is Graham Brown and Mike Bousson as well. These guys are going up into turn 4 currently at the moment. And currently all is well here, I think. I think that's the most important thing. Because of the undulation of this circuit, clearly we can see it goes up and down, right? We're not, I've got glasses for a living, but look at that. It's up, down, up, down. It's like being on a roller coaster more than a race circuit. It's up again, down we go again. There's obviously a lot of elevation changes within this circuit, and these have got to be careful, these drivers, because although, you might start getting in that fast-flowing flow of this circuit, it can still cause you damage. And I think that's the thing with a circuit like Mid-Ohio, Michael, that at the end of the day, yeah, it flows, and yeah, it's quick, but you make one mistake, and it's kind of, well, here, son, here's the grass.
Yeah, you definitely got to be careful because it's very easy once you're going over a crest to get a little excited on the loud pedal, and then the next thing you know, you're going to the bottom of that crest and you've lost all traction to the rear end of your vehicle. I'm not too familiar with these SR10s, but I am very familiar with the Porsche 992. They both have a nice amount of power, and they both have no traction control. So it's kind of a similar idea. So coming through someplace that has the undulation like this, it's so easy to get stuck into a rhythm, stuck into like comfort zone, and then all of a sudden you go over a hill, give it a little bit too much gas, and right around you go. And also, you were saying there's an issue that can be determined with the brake pressure, where if you brake a little too hard, that's going to spin you around. So brake balance, brake bias is a key here. I'm not sure, is that something that you're able to adjust on the fly in these cars?
You can adjust it on the fly. The thing with it as well is I never get it right. Like Colin Winner's in chat. Good evening, Colin. Mega tough circuit he's put. Go, Rollo, go. And also Mike's changing his pants, so Mike Bousson. It is a really tough car, and you can't just jump in the SR10 and go, oh, I'm a racing driver. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It does not work like that by any shape or form. And at the end of the day, this is something that they've got to be really, really careful of in there. And that brake bias, you can adjust on the fly. But again, one little change and you can really sort of put your car into a different dimension, I find. You know what I mean? But it is, these drivers are a lot more capable in these cars than me, and Colin, he's more capable than I am as well. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one, I think, especially here. Mike Bousson, Graham Brown. Mike's fighting for the championship. Paul Crabb's not here tonight, so he's got an opportunity to be leading the championship into Road America next week. So Mike is desperately even more keener to keep it on track, but does that hinder his pace because he's not going as quick as he could because he's a little bit more cautious?
I would imagine so, because at the end of the day, he just wants to finish a solid finish. A podium would be awesome for him. A race one would be even better, but he cannot afford to not get a solid points haul today, because with the championship leader Paul Crabb out, it's nothing but solid points here for Mike Bousson. There's no opportunity for him to make a mistake. He has to stay on top of his game today, and he has to score solid. So if he has to stick with this 4th place, fine, because that's still a decent points haul. but he cannot afford to drop, and he cannot afford to lose points. He has to keep it on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's here going, taking 2 wide down. Graham Brown into turn 4. Mike Buson. Graham Brown, I do love Graham Brown's livery. I'm sorry, I might touch on it every single week, but it is a stunning JPS livery. Absolutely incredible. As we can see here, these guys are going left, and then they're going to be going right again, dropping down through the basically on that run down into the carousel. We're coming down Thunder Valley. Oh, even the name is like saying Mufasa out of Lion King. It gets me all shivery. So Mike Buson here, absolutely trying to chase up to back of Graham Brown with Luke Maxwell. Further down the order though, Michael LeMay here is chasing down Phil Glover. Now we do have Phil in the waiting room. He said he will jump in for a chat, but I don't know where to really pull him in on this circuit, to be honest, because it looks like it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, there's not really any places to truly take a breath here. There is the one long straight that we're coming up to right after the keyhole, the long straight on the backside of the. Sorry about that. Yeah, the long straight on the backside here. But aside from that, there's not really any place to really take a breath, to have a moment of your time. Even just like commentating, this track is. I mean, we're already 6 laps into a 17-lap race. You blink and you miss everything. So yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be comfortable even wanting to come in and talk, because there's so much going on. You're constantly, going over a hill into a blind corner. So it's going to take all of your attention for sure.
This is, if I'm not mistaken, do it, James Collins. Colin with you, nasty man. The thing is with Phil, he does jump in and to say that he wants to come and jump into the broadcast. I'm still a little bit scared to pull him in, I'm not going to lie. I do like Phil and I do love him when he comes in for a chat, but I'm a little bit worried that he's sat there waiting, and I don't really know how that's going to pan out. But Graham Brown, Mike Buson, Luke Maxwell here as well, currently 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. In the standings currently at this moment in time. Now, we haven't had a look at the gainers here because there hasn't been massive. Darryl Taylor's probably the only one. Rollo's up 1 and Leah up 1 as well. G is down 2, Glover's down 2 as well. So not really massive amounts of changes within that timing tower. And me and you both know that, we've seen it where they were like minus 15 and minus, 10 and up 20 places. We've seen it all. And to have a basic tower like that, I think is quite refreshing, really.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I really thought that this track's layout really lend itself to being a very strong overtaking lap. But as we're seeing with all these, hill changes, undulations and elevation changes, I think that has a lot more to do with it than I originally thought. So we're not seeing the movers that we would usually see in a different type of course. So this is definitely the closest battle we have on track right now is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. This is going to be very exciting because, as we talked about earlier, it's extremely important for Buson to have a solid finish here. But we see Luke Maxwell here. He's closed up a gap quite a bit, and he's right on Buson's tail, and he's looking for his chance. He wants to throw himself up on that podium.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight from these guys. They are going around the keyhole at the moment. Phil Glover is there in a mix of the battle. He's got Michael LeMay climbing all over him like a monkey's baby, I'll tell you that much. And what an absolute incredible run here. Do we even think about pulling Phil Glover into the booth for a chat? He's probably going to scream at me if I do that, but I think overall we'll just leave him for a minute, let him settle in, see if we can get a gap, and then we might look at pulling him in. But at the moment, I have no intention. I don't want to disturb him, Colin. Don't keep telling me to. You're like the ringleader here, who's telling me to rob a bank and then say you had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Not nice. We'll leave him be currently at the moment, but we'll go back up with Graham Brown in that JPS liveried SR10 there with Mike Buson right behind him and Luke Maxwell behind that as well. The gap to Maxwell is actually closer than the gap to Brown in front. So there we go. The gap to Maxwell behind is actually closer than the gap to Brown in front. And there are your lap times on your screen currently. On the moment there, you can see Maxwell was nearly a second quicker in lap 5 0.04 of a second quicker in lap 8, and it's, whoa. Well, there's one where we didn't expect to be seen coming up there, wasn't it? The ever-charging Luke Maxwell right behind him, charging up to the back there of Mike Bousson. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. Going to have a look at the sector times and see where it is. Maxwell is gaining time, and it's 6-2. Oh, Brown's out of shape. This is going to bunch up. The free, Dave Dowson has just jumped into the pits. Jamie Bird and him, it looks like they may have had a little bit of contact. But look at this freeway here with these guys. Well, we've got 2 seconds. Let's have a look at a Jamie Bird incident. Jamie there looking like, I think that's Dave Dowson on the inside. There's a... Oh, that's not Dave Dowson. Dave Dowson is here. Oh, he looks like he's already been off there. Doesn't look good for Dave. It's just kind of
no power, yeah.
He's got nothing. That's a little bit bizarre at the moment. But we'll have to see how he pans out there as well. I don't think Dave's going to be back on track. I've got to be happy honest with you, as we've got 7 laps left, Michael, which is really bizarre, really, because this has just gone absolutely flying, isn't it? There's just nothing to it.
Yeah, this is usually an endurance race that you do here. It's usually a couple hours long. I remember I did a couple with you last season, or maybe it was the season before. It's been a little while since I've been with the Radicals with you.
Whoa.
That was a late break. Oh, is that Brown?
Brown's off. Oh, and he's just literally come back on front on track as well. Scott Leo 1.5 behind, but that's Brown
What
off.
happened?
Graham Brown went off track. We're talking about the undulation of this circuit. Here he goes, he overcooks it, and there's that drop off on the left-hand side. And there's just nowhere for him to go apart from try and get that car back onto track, which he does do in a speedy manner with Scott Lear closing right behind him. So poor old Graham Brown. James Charles, Michael LeMay now. Phil Glover's got about a second gap. If he can get it out to 1.5, I'll pull him in for a chat, all right? Let's give it that covered. So let's see if Phil can get this out. But it's now all on Bousson again, whether or not he's going to be able to, you know, break away from Luke Maxwell. And I think that's going to be the thing, is whether or not he can break away from Luke Maxwell. Any chance you can chat with Simon during the race? Well, no, he hasn't really come up and said that he's happy. Phil's put he's happy to have a chat, so I don't mean...
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and bring Phil in,
where is Phil currently on the circuit? He's going down the straight, so there he goes.
He's got a second gap there.
Yeah,
almost.
Phil Glover there is currently in 11th. He's joined us in the booth. Why he's driving. Phil, I hope you're well. I wonder if I can unmute Phil. I believe he's muted.
Oh, he tried to unmute himself and he went off there, China Beach. Phil.
Hello guys, how are you doing?
Hey Phil, sorry about that. I think you caused an incident right there.
Yeah, well, you get a better view from the back.
Well, that's the thing there, Phil. You know, how was your race going up until that point?
It was going okay, actually. I was enjoying myself. I've just got to work a bit harder now.
Well, if anything, mate, you're not the only one to go off there, as Graham Brown went off literally about a minute and a half in front of you as well. But, you know, I hope everything you're doing, you know, keep pushing there, buddy. I'm sorry if I brought you in and that's caused a problem.
No, it's not your fault. No, just one of them things.
How are you loving the circuit?
Say that again.
How are you loving the circuit?
Oh, I do love the circuit.
Yeah, very fast.
Yeah, it seems like it has a nice flow to it.
Yeah, it's quite slippy though. That's the trouble. But once you get it rotating, it's good fun.
Okay there, buddy. Well, I'll drop you back in the waiting room there, mate. And thank you so much again for joining us. And we'll speak to you later.
Yeah, sure thing.
Now, I don't know if we caused that or not. I can't.
Would that be considered a broadcaster's curse?
Possibly. But did you notice how I said I put it in a collective we form and not just me on that one?
Yeah, I'll take a little bit because I was telling you to go ahead and do it. So
yeah.
I'll take half of that.
Yeah, I think that's only fair. That's only fair because they can't all be, they can't always be me. So maybe us at JPB have just kind of dropped Phil into it there as well, and he's heading now down in 14th. Chasing his way back up, as we see Mike Bousson and Luke Maxwell getting rather close together. This is one of your closest battles. There is another slight one around about the same distance apart, and that's James Child and Michael LeMay, who are about 3/10 at the moment, but Mike Bousson's gap has gone down to 2. This is not going to get it in to go into turn 4. What's Luke got to do, Mike? Because, you know, he's not closing the gap. He can't manage to seem to get past at the moment. Is he just going to have to Verstappen it?
Yeah, I think he's got a faster line around the hairpin, and I think that's where he's trying to set the move up. It's just Bousson's able to really block on the exit of the hairpin, and that loses him time down the front straight, loses time for Luke Maxwell down the back straight there. So I think he's been trying to get the move set up into the hairpin. I think he's going to have to either, like you said, just send it, or maybe try to set a move up at a different part of the circuit. But he's definitely got the pace, he's got the speed. He keeps, anytime he falls back, he comes right back up to him. So I think coming into the hairpin is where he wants to get it done, and he just hasn't been able to do it yet. So he's either going to have to send it here or try to find a new spot. He's only got a couple laps left.
Yeah, Mike's holding a great line, says Colin Wynn. Was that spin your fault, broadcasters? We're not entirely sure. Phil said he's happy to talk. I pulled Phil in, and at that moment, as I pulled him in, he went off track.
He was trying to unmute himself.
Well, maybe that was the case, because I could have already done that for him. He didn't have to actually touch anything. So, you know, possibly. Can we put it down to 50-50 maybe? But let's see, lap 14 out of 17 already. The leaders still Simon Edwards. Then Dan Webster, which is, Dan's done an absolutely stellar job. Not really seen much of Dan this evening. And then you've got this battling pair of Bousson and Maxwell with only 2 laps remaining. Well, so we have to see how this one pans out. But James Child here and Michael LeMay are having this absolute epic ding-dong. Mike there from Two Brothers Racing. As we know, we've got Michael LeMay and Paul LeMay in the series. Paul is sitting in 5th place currently at the moment, so he's doing a stellar job for the LeMay brothers. A broadcasted incident, that's the one. Thank you, Colin. Yeah. I don't know about you, but yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a broadcasted incident. I'm happy with that. So thanks, Colin. You got me back. I knew you had. I don't think now the gap's gone out to 8/10 here that Luke's going to be close enough.
Yeah, I think he's kind of probably burnt up his tires a little bit more than he really wanted to, being that close and really trying to challenge as much as he had. I'm sure he's still got plenty of rubber, just not as much as he wants. He's a little too far back now coming through. We're about to see the white flag. I just think that at this point, it's a little too late. But you never know. Bousson could make a mistake, but you're already up here riding along with him. Our current leader here, Edwards, coming through a solid 2.8 seconds ahead of second place here. So Edwards and Webster just both running away from the field here. Yeah,
you're almost a little bit early there. You're a little bit early, bro.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 16. I thought it said 16. That's my fault.
It does say 16, but we've got to go to lap 17.
Well, it does. I thought it was 16 last lap, so that's...
no.
Oh!
Just in time! Michael LeMay, James Child. Oh, David Rollo there having a nice little blink there. I'm not entirely sure. What did they do? Just follow each other off? Well, that's new.
That was a strange one.
Yeah, I'm going to look on the roll bar and see if I can catch James Child there, because it looks like they just followed each other. Yeah, he just follows him off.
Yeah, paying a little bit too much attention to the car in front of him and not paying enough attention to your braking marks.
Yeah, I think so as well. But Simon Edwards here is coming round turn 12, which is the long carousel, and he's going to be taking the checkered flag, the white flag. Commentators goes 100. White flag, shush. Where is Barney, my boy? We're on the white flag lap. He's not waving again. I'm sure Barney takes a night off every now and then, right? Because he never waves the flag. He didn't at Le Mans, and he hasn't done it here either. So clearly, Barney's not loving the fact that we're on the white flag. But that was an unfortunate one. You know, there's been a couple of times where I've almost followed a car off because I get so sort of tunnel vision because you think they're going the right way. But clearly, that's just a little bit more of a, I don't know what that was, to be honest.
Yeah, that seemed like a very strange, just paying a little bit too much attention to the car in front of you and just losing your place where you are. I got a question, though, real quick before we finish up. iRacing has just put out that we've now surpassed 5 billion laps driven on iRacing. How many flags has Barney waved?
I wouldn't like to imagine. Maybe it's a question for the iRacing
maybe
gurus.
he deserves the night off.
Yeah, but not here. He seems to take every Thursday off because he did it at Le Mans as well. He took the evening off at Le Mans. He was just stood on the gantry. He didn't even wave. Colin Wins put 1 billion, so maybe there. Look, he's not even there. Look, oh, he's at the top. Barney there coming and finishing off there as well. Graham, Simon Edwards taking the victory. Dan Webster in second. Did Mike Bousson hang on? He did. Mike Bousson there, solid championship points when Paul Crabb was not there as well. So Luke Maxwell in fourth place. Paul LeMay comes across in a solid fifth. Never really saw much of Paul. He kind of went about his own business. Scott Lear in seventh. Paul Clark's another one. Darrell Taylor, an absolute marvellous eighth. Rollo in ninth. Damien G from Team BSR in 10th. Graham Brown in 11th after his incident as well. But then he did exactly the same thing that this man Phil Glover did. So, you know, what more can we ask for? Phil Jocelyn down in 14th, Jamie Bird 15th, Michael LeMay is currently in 16th place. Okay, so that was a very short, sharp event, right? Was it? It came, it saw, it conquered almost, because once Simon Edwards got out in front, like he did by 3 seconds here, he just kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, he just absolutely just gone. Didn't have any. We saw him off the jump. He got over and blocked Dan Webster, and then he was just gone. And then Webster just kind of did his own thing. He was gone as well. And then we had the battle between Bousson and Maxwell. But like you said, this race just came and it was over in a blink of an eye. And it was just very quick, very fast paced. We saw a couple drivers lose their rhythm going off a couple places, a couple strange incidents there, but you know, for the most part, this race was just a blink and you miss it.
Yeah, absolutely there, guys, as well. But the final standings are on the screen. Simon Edwards is in first place and was in first. Dan Webster second, Mike Bousson third, Luke Maxwell fourth, Paul LeMay in fifth, Scott Lear sixth, Paul Clark seventh, Darrell Taylor eighth, Dave Rollison ninth, Damien G 10th, Graham Brown 11th, James Child 12th, Phil Glover 13th, Phil Jocelyn 14th, Jamie Bird 15th, Michael LeMay 16th, and Dave Dawson down in 17th place. I wonder if I can get Mr. LeMay in the booth, because it'd be interesting to see if that blinking car of Rollo, and I don't mean blinking as here, where's my blinking boots? I mean as in it blinked at that moment in time. So I'll be interested to see if I can get him in the booth for a good chinwag. Let's see what Michael LeMay does here as well. So don't forget, guys, as well, next week we are off to Fuji. Woof. That's going to be a different entity altogether. Fuji Grand Prix on the 27th there. Then we've got Road America on the 3rd of November. 10th and 11th is Monza GP. 17th and 11th is Mosport. 24th and 11th is Barfirst. And then the season closer at Nordschleife Industriefahrten on the 1st of December. So we got Mike Bousson in the commentary booth with me this evening. Good evening, Mike. How are you, sir? Mike. Okay, well, Mike's not here. I'll pull Mike in later.
He's here, he's muted.
Yeah, we'll pull Mike in. Let's see if we can get Mike in a little bit after this one. But I'll tell you what, let's have a chat with the one and only Simon Edwards, your victor here this evening. Simon, good evening, sir. How are you?
Okay, I'm nearly over my sickness from last week.
Well,
Old man.
mate, you ran away with it for 3 seconds. It was like a Sunday drive, wasn't it?
Well, I won't run away. I had to hold near my top pace up to creep away from Dan. I'm glad I got him out of the draft. That's all I can say. So, yeah, I was just matching my pace to his and a little bit more if I could. So, I love this track. I've loved it since it came out. When I must have done a million races in the skip barb around here.
Oh, well, there you go. So it was the experience that paid off, Simon. But, you know, we saw a couple of incidents where it looked like a moment's lapse in concentration, and you joined the gravel. And is that kind of one of the things that you had to keep hold of, was your concentration this evening?
I was struggling a little bit at the end there, but I don't think I hit the gravel. I did a 0x. Maybe there was some internet issues.
No, that's what I said. There were some incidents that people had gone into the gravel. I don't know if that was,
okay.
But they were simple ones, like they went too far around one of the turn 4 and then dropped off the side of turn 4 almost before going in to try and get into turn 5. I was saying, was the concentration level, did you have to try and, was it a full-on... No, this is probably going to not even go where I want it to. Is it full, like, you've obviously got to concentrate 100% at a circuit like this?
Yes. In my mind, the way I do it is I concentrate on T1, just make sure I don't overdrive T1. T2, I just make sure I don't outbrake myself and end up in the gravel on the outside, and I take a really wide line and really late apex, so I can be full throttle in third gear as I apex. And then you can relax a bit until you come towards T4 and you get more and more panicky. So T4 is the one that is easy to make the big mistake at, because you've got to go around it pretty quick. I'm in third gear round there, and I just clip the inside curb just for a bit of confidence, really, to make sure I'm you know, I'm staying tight in. And then for me, it's just a big flow from there, and I don't need to concentrate as much. It's sort of, because I know the track so well, I know that flow. So all the way to the last corner, it's embedded in my brain at that point. So
Nice.
So yeah, I need to keep the concentration up, and I was flagging a bit at the end there, but yeah, I don't think I fell out of the 16s though, so that was good.
No, you didn't at all there as well. Well, Simon, congratulations on your victory. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, my doctor for giving me the right antibiotics this time.
Props to Mr. Simon Edwards' doctor for giving him the right pills. So well done there. Without them pills, Simon, would you have been here this evening?
No, definitely not.
Oh, well, there you go. No worries, Simon. Thank you so much for joining me in the booth, as always.
Thank you.
Take care. Right, let's bring in the second place man, Dan Webster. Dan, good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I've just watched it. Do you know what this race reminded me of, Dan? And I'm going to give you a little bit of analogy from my very 44-year-old brain. It reminded me going through a country village where if you blinked, you missed it all. And this is kind of what it reminded me of here at Mid-Ohio, because 1 minute we're starting, and then the next minute I'm seeing the checkered flag. It was so quick. I'll have to watch it back myself to see what went on.
Yeah, it did seem to be over quite quickly, although not a great deal went on from where I was sitting. I just didn't quite have enough pace to stick with Simon. So, yeah, it was a bit of a lonely race, and I wasn't really able to push him too much this week.
But
it was fun all the same. I enjoyed it.
But you did enough to pull away from Mike and Luke and Graham Brown behind you. So
yeah, I was surprised, to be honest, because those guys are super quick as well. So when we pulled a little bit of a gap and was quite comfortable behind me, then it was a bit of a lonely race, but it was good.
Yeah, they were fighting, mate, as well.
I gathered that. I was watching the split.
Yeah, and Graham went off into the gravel at turn 4. So, a little bit bad. But overall, mate, nice and straightforward for you. We're going next week into Fuji at the GP circuit. You know, what's the faults? Because it's a different race to this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I imagine it will be. Yeah, I don't think I've driven this car around there at all, so it should be interesting. Hopefully I can make it.
All I would say, mate, is get some practice in. Because Fuji is tough in every car that I've driven around there at the moment. I can't seem to find a car that actually enjoys going around there. But then again, my ability is probably 10 times less than yours. So, you know, it could be my ability not being able to get a car around there. But onwards and upwards, Dan, you know, we're going on to Fuji next week. We look forward to seeing you there. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Just the guys running the series and the guys competing, as always. They make it what it is, which is really good.
Absolutely amazing. Dan, well, look forward to seeing you next week at Fuji. And you have a great week, buddy.
Cheers, you two.
Right. Third interview, take 2. Mike Bousson is in the booth. Mike, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Very well, yourself?
Wonderful. I actually get the pleasure of saying you didn't finish in second, didn't quite get the victory, but you were on the podium. So, you know, the silver lining. And also, Paul Crabb weren't near me, and you are now probably leading the championship.
Oh, am I? Or is Simon taking it back? I'm not sure of the maths. But either way, not a bad result for a track that I purchased this week. And it's not really my forte. But so I was happy with that, to be fair. Qualifying was key, and I messed my last lap up. So obviously, I was behind Graham, and Graham was very lucky not to have me punt him off several times because I thought the braking zones were slightly different between us, and but we made it through.
Okay, I've just worked the championship points out because, you know, I can do quick maths while I listen to the sultry tones of your voice in my commentary booth, and you are leading the way, Mike, by 10 points currently.
Ooh.
I know, that was with the 40 that Simon got.
Oh, that's good.
Do you know,
I'll be happy with. Obviously, I have to take a drop week for last week's debacle, but yeah, it's not too bad. I was a bit disappointed after last week, so I thought myself, you know, I'm gonna drop right back. But that's good.
But look, at the end of the day, right, yes, last week was unlucky, right, because, you know, you went through that Watkins Glen chicane and you just didn't come out the other side. So, look, but then again, you weren't the only one, Mike, so fair play on that one at the end of the day. Look, you are, though, right, listen, this is one of the success stories out around week 6, right, because you're leading the championship for a man that's never won a race so far. Simon Edwards has got 2, Crabb's got 1, Luke has got 1, and they're not leading like you, mate. So we can call you Mr. Consistent, can't we?
Exactly. I don't need the big wins to prove that I've got the speed. You know, I'll take it on. I'll take it on the law of averages. It's not. You know, it's not spectacular, but I do just enough.
But hey, it's consistent. It don't matter after that, Mike. It doesn't matter. But look, dude, it's always a pleasure having you in the booth. You know that, right? Onwards and upwards as we go on to Fuji. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, Mike? Dare I ask before you leave the booth this evening?
I've had a quick think about this just for you. I was going to tell you. I'm going to go with Ben Underdown. A big shout. He's not racing this week because he's too tight to buy the track. Let's just put it out there.
Do you know the worst thing is? Ben was in chat earlier on as well. So, Ben, welcome in. Hope you're well. Mike's just put it all out there for you, buddy. It wasn't quite the shout out I was expecting, Mike, but yeah, that would do, bud.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Marvellous. So much love talking to you, Mike. And when are we going to see you? Sunday?
Yeah, the SR8.
Yeah. So I'll see you then, buddy. Well, you enjoy yourself, mate, and have a good one.
And you. Catch you later, chaps.
See you later, mate.
Bye.
Right, let's pull in Phil into the booth here as well for one last chat with Phil Glover. Phil managed to recover back to 13th, buddy. Not bad going after what seemed to be a broadcaster's curse. At the moment we pulled you in, you won off track.
Yeah, well, you pulled me in at the right time, I guess. But by the time I'd just located my button on my wheel, I was heading for that the bend at the end of the straight, and I just got my braking point slightly wrong. So, yeah, but hey, I really enjoyed that, and so I qualified 9th, which is pretty good for me. And then I was catching, I think it was James Childs toward the end. It was about 5.5 seconds to go, and I think I got it somewhere down to about 3.
3 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm pleased with that. I really like that track as well. It flows nicely.
Yeah, absolutely amazing job, buddy. Next time, now, I will tell you this, though. Next time, you don't have to unmute yourself. If you jump into the box and you're muted, I can unmute you. So, you know, don't worry too much next time about fiddling with your mute button, because I've got a funny feeling we did cause your incident. So for that, I am sorry. But overall, look, bud, a good evening of racing. On to Fuji next week. You know, what are we expecting from Fuji?
Oh, I don't know.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, I think, mate.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll complete it with a smile.
Absolutely. There you go, Phil. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, look forward to it.
All right, mate. Take care.
Yes.
Michael, David, you still here, sir?
Of course I'm still here.
Good, good, good. I'm sorry about that. We do love a good old chat, me and Mike, and we could probably sit here and discuss stuff all evening, to be honest. But look, I think, to be honest with you, I don't think I summed that up pretty bad there. You go for a short village and it's done. Isn't it? You blink and you miss the high street. And that's pretty much what that race gave me, I think.
Yeah, a lot of times you like to ask me to, you know, my thoughts in one sentence before we leave. I was going to honestly tell you, is it over?
Yeah.
That was my thought. Like, it just went by so quickly. You blink and you miss it, just like those small country towns. It's
exactly.
It's incredible. Great race, though. You know, it was a solid race. I love the track. I love the car combination. Just wish it was a little longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too, as well. I've got to agree with you on that one, Michael. It was gone and dusted before we even got really going. But thank you to everyone who's joined me in chat. Phil, across the pond, as always, much love to you. Colin Wynn, and thank you again. Ben Underdown popping in earlier on. Don't forget, guys, we've got Xfinity at Long Beach at 10 to 2 in the morning on the JPB YouTube channel, so please check that out. Thank you so much for that one. So really all that's left for me to say here, guys, is you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.